At 0347 hours, the last oil tanker cleared the lane. What Tehran did not know, what nobody on the Iranian coast south of Bandar Abbas could see through the haze, was that the trap had already closed. One carrier strike group, one marine assault force, and one 6-hour window were now all that stood between the free flow of global shipping and a mind-burning choke point. If this failed, the world would not just lose another patch of sea. It would lose the artery. Insurance markets would spike before sunrise. Allied capitals would start making calls they never wanted to make. And somewhere along the Iranian-controlled shoreline between Bandar Abbas and Keshem, one detail had already gone wrong. The IRGC had shifted its mine dispersal pattern 12 hours early. That mistake would not be answered until blood was already on the concrete. Open loop, source by 0350, the assault package was locked. 24 FA-18EF Super Hornets, 4 EA-18G Growlers, 2 E-2D controllers overhead, 6 MH-6 OR Seahawks pushing maritime screen, 4 destroyers and 1 cruiser holding the outer ring, while 1,920 Marines drawn from 4th Marines, 3D Reconnaissance Battalion, a firing battery attached from 12th Marines, and 48 Navy Special Warfare operators staged for the strike. Behind them came 10 MV-22 Ospreys, 6 CH-53 heavy lift birds, 4 AH-1Z Vipers, 4 UH-1Es, and 6 LCACs packed with trucks, engineers, breachers, ammunition, and enough fuel to stay ugly until dawn. Their mission: seize the mining complex, break the coastal missile belt, kill the radar picture, and reopen the Strait before first light. They had 6 hours. After that, Iranian reserves from inland garrisons would hit the coast in force. The flight deck on Nimitz looked like a steel city under red light. Yellow shirts sprinted between parked noses and folded wings. Ordnancemen rolled 2,000-pound GBU-31s under Super Hornets and locked a GM-88E anti-radiation missiles onto outer stations. Chains rattled. Turbines whined. The air smelled like hot hydraulic fluid, jet exhaust, and ocean salt baked into non-skid. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Reeves, strike lead, stood under the belly of her FA-18F with a kneeboard tucked against her plate carrier, tracing ingress lines with a gloved finger. Suppress the radars. Crack the coast open. Keep the corridor alive for the Marines. Nothing more. Nothing less. 40 miles away, inside the well deck of the amphibious shipping, riding dark beyond the horizon, Marines checked each other by touch and ritual. Gunnery Sergeant Daniel Ortiz from 3D Recon ran a hand across taped magazines, flex cuff charges, breaching tape, and a suppressed M4 already dusted white by salt. Major Eli Mercer, commanding the lead battalion element from 4th Marines, knelt over a satellite image spread across a crate of 5.56 belted ammo. His finger tapped the objective like a hammer. Radar bunker here. Mining command node here. Missile revetments here. One lane through the industrial yard. One tunnel entrance cut into the rock. No wasted movement. No heroic detours. Hit every room like it already has your name on it. Hospital corpsman, First Class Luke Bennett moved down the line checking tourniquets, chest seals, morphine, whole blood tags. He said almost nothing. He didn't have to. Every man there knew the look. This was not training face. This was the face corpsmen wore when they had already made peace with the number of casualties. No briefing ever said out loud. Then the intel update landed. A signals team aboard the cruiser intercepted a burst transmission from the coast. Not a generic alert. Not chatter. A warning. Iran knew something was coming. Search radars west of Bandar Abbas snapped online for 6 seconds, then went dark again. That was enough. Surprise was wounded, maybe dying. The timeline just collapsed by 2 hours. The order went out anyway. Marines pulled night vision mounts down. Osprey crews tightened harnesses. A CH-53 loadmaster slammed a palm into the side of a pallet stacked with small rockets and shouted over the engine spool. In the gun pits, attached artillery Marines prepped digital fire missions they might never get to shoot. Every man felt the same thing in his chest, then not fear. Not exactly. Compression. That moment when history narrows to one hatch, one ramp. One green light. Dust haze rolled off the Iranian coast and spread low across the water. Thick enough to smear shoreline lights and chew up long-range visibility. Laser designation got ugly. Rotor wash would be worse. The pilots knew what that meant immediately. Tighter formations, dirtier landings, harder identification. More chances for one hidden gun to survive the first wave. Still. Engines came up. Catapult. Flame. Gone. Reeves was airborne in seconds, climbing hard over black water as the deck vanished behind her. Above the strike stack, the growlers moved like scalpel escorts, their job not to kill first, but to blind first. Ahead, the Iranian coastline was just a broken ribbon under haze and moonlight. Then the radars woke up. Growlers hit them. Electronic attack flooded the band. Deception, noise, confusion. Iranian screens bloomed with ghosts. Reeves rolled in behind the jamming wall and watched the first GM-88E streak away. A white-hot line knifing toward an emitter, buried somewhere in the cliffs. Seconds later, 2 GBU-31s dropped from another jet. Heavy and clean, falling toward a known coastal fire control site above the tanker lane. On the surface, destroyers turned their noses toward the Strait. MH-60 rupees pushed out front, sensors open, searching for fast boats, floating hazards, anything that could turn the transit lane into a graveyard. Farther back, LCSC skirts inflated and the craft rose shuddering off the deck. Loaded to the teeth engineers, Humvees, ammo pallets, breaching gear. Marines packed shoulder to shoulder in the roar. Inside the lead Osprey, Ortiz could feel each vibration through his spine. No one talked. Red light. Rotor thunder. Sweat trapped under armor. The crew chief pointed at the ramp. 2 minutes. Ortiz looked over at Bennett. The corpsman just nodded once and checked the red tape on his medical bag. Then the shoreline exploded. Tracers reached up from a ridge no one thought was still alive. One coastal gun battery had survived the opening strike. The sky over the beach lit green and orange as the Vipers snapped left and dived. Rockets walked across the ridge. A 20mm cannon ripped into a bunker mouth. Below, one LCAC took fragmentation through the skirt and slewed sideways, showering the deck with metal and spray but refusing to die. Ortiz's sister recon element, 8 Marines inserted ahead of the main force to mark the tunnel entrance, stopped transmitting mid-call. No sitrep, no beacon. No infrared strobe. Just silence where the eyes of the assault were supposed to be. Mercer heard it over the net and said nothing for 3 full seconds. On a battlefield, 3 seconds can feel like a funeral, but what happened next changed everything. The surviving Iranian battery was not protecting the beach. It was protecting the tunnel. Mercer saw it at once. The fire was too concentrated, too disciplined, too fixed on that slice of cliff face above the mining yard. Whatever sat inside that rock mattered more than the shoreline. He redirected the assault in motion. One company angled for the warehouse blocks. Another cut toward the ridgeline guns. Ortiz and the recon heavy breach team were sent straight for the tunnel mouth. With Bennett attached and the Vipers tearing a corridor through the smoke, the first boots hit the ground at 429. No speech. No flag wave. Just impact. Marines spilled off the ramps into gravel, oil residue, and flying concrete. Suppressive fire hit first short, hard bursts into windows, catwalks, and rooftop corners. Engineers ran Bangalore sections to a wire obstacle while machine gunners stitched the guard towers. Mercer moved with the center stack, yelling distances, sectors, corrections. A Marine to his left caught Spall in the neck and went down choking. Bennett was on him before the body hit stillness, dragging him behind a forklift, packing, sealing, shoving blood back where blood belonged. Ortiz reached the tunnel face under a storm of ricochets. The steel blast door was half recessed into rock, painted to match the cliff and almost invisible under soot. One dead camera. One live PKM position above it. He pointed. 2 Marines peeled off. Grenade up, burst, silence. Ortiz planted the charge himself, thumbed the clacker, and the mountain coughed fire. Inside was worse. Concrete corridors. Backup lights. Diesel fumes. Heat. The kind of confined dark where muzzle flash blinds as much as it helps. Room by room, position by position, they went forward. First junction clear. Generator room contested. Left passage collapsed. Right passage open. An Iranian team tried to hold a stairwell with grenades and a belt-fed gun. Ortiz answered with shotgun breaching rounds through the lock, then a flood of rifles through the gap. Bodies fell awkwardly in tight spaces. Boots slipped. Someone screamed for more ammo. Someone else screamed for a corpsman. Above ground, Mercer's Marines cleared the operations yard in brutal increments. Container stack, crane tower, control shack, fuel bowser, loading bay. The missile revetments were deeper than expected. One Marine SMAW team got within 60 meters before an RPG cracked off a retaining wall and shredded the sandbag lip beside them. Mercer didn't wait for a perfect angle. He grabbed the radio, adjusted the Vipers by the numbers, and seconds later the revetment disappeared under rockets in 20 millimeters. Then, Nomad 2 came back. Not on primary. On a weak emergency burst from inside the mountain. They were alive, pinned in a ventilation service shaft above the central command room. 2 wounded. 1 radio smashed. And directly beneath them sat the real target, the mind control cell, where officers were queuing dispersal boats and remote release patterns for the shipping lanes. The recon team had found the nerve center before they were cut off, for 1 beat. Everything slowed. Ortiz looked at Mercer through the smoke and said, "We go down now, or we lose the Strait." Mercer didn't answer with words. He just pushed his stack forward. The command room fight lasted less than 90 seconds. And felt like an hour. The first Marine through the breach took a round through the plate and collapsed backward into Ortiz. Bennett crossed open ground. Inside that corridor to get to him while rounds chewed. Sparks out of the bulkhead. He should have stayed under cover. He didn't. He dragged the wounded Marine by the shoulder straps with one hand, firing his pistol with the other. Then shoved him behind a concrete support as fragments tore into Bennett's aid bag and ripped the strap clean off. Ortiz saw it happen. He also saw Bennett wave him on. So he went on. Into the room. The mind control screens were still live. So was one Iranian officer reaching for a dead man switch. Ortiz hit him center mass. Mercer vaulted the plotting table, smashed another operator into the console, and ripped the handset from the main circuit. Behind them, Nomad 2 dropped out of the shaft like ghosts and opened fire from above, collapsing the last pocket of resistance from 2 directions at once. Then the whole net screamed a new warning. One mobile anti-ship launcher had escaped, a truck-mounted battery, hidden under camouflage netting during the airstrikes, was now racing north along the coast road with 1 missile still live and 1 clear shot at the tanker lane. The complex was falling. The mine cell was in American hands. But the Strait was not open yet. Reeves heard the call first in the stack overhead. 1 target. Moving. Coastal road. 3 minutes to launch envelope. She rolled her jet low through haze so thick it turned the world into a dirty tunnel. No clean laser. No second pass guarantee. just a fleeting thermal smear between rock face and water. Below her, ships held fire because friendlies were now everywhere along the coast. Above her, the growlers kept the Iranian radar picture broken. But not broken enough. Reeves saw the transporter crest a bend. She did not wait. The Hornet inverted, came down, corrected, and released in one fluid motion. The JDAM fell through dust and dawn-gray light toward a road already beginning to vanish in smoke. For 2 seconds nobody on the net said anything. Then the cliff line lifted. Fire rolled upward. Secondary explosions snapped through the haze. The launcher was gone. By 0548, the surviving Iranian defenders were boxed into a warehouse strip overlooking the water. Their comms were shredded. Their radar picture was blind. Their mining node was in American hands. Mercer stood in the open behind a wrecked loader, rifle hanging low, and gave the ultimatum over a captured handset in clipped, level words. Drop your weapons. Exit one at a time. Hands visible. Do it now, and you live through sunrise. For 5 seconds, nothing moved. No shots. No answer. Just the hiss of burning cables, the crackle of fuel fire, the distant pounding of rotor blades. And every Marine on that line waiting for the lie they had been promised all night. Then one rifle clattered onto concrete. Then another. Then the first Iranian soldier stepped out, blinking into the floodlights and smoke, hands high, trembling hard enough for everyone to see it. Only then did the weight of it land, out in the channel. The first escorted ships began to move again. Horns sounded low across the water, deep, mechanical, almost mournful. An American flag went up over the operations yard, not clean, not ceremonial, just hauled into place by dirty hands that had earned the right to touch it. Bennett, bleeding through a field dressing of his own, sat against a concrete barrier and looked toward the sea without saying a word. Ortiz stood nearby, one sleeve dark with somebody else's blood, staring at the ruined tunnel mouth like he was trying to count the cost, one face at a time. Sunrise found the coast broken, the lane open, and the message unmistakable. What they did that night did not just clear a waterway. It reset the balance of fear. It told every tanker captain, every Allied capital, every enemy commander watching from a bunker or a palace that the line through Hormuz could still be held by force, reopened by force, and defended by men willing to walk straight into rock, fire, and steel to do it. What they did that night will echo through history, but the Strait of Hormuz was only the beginning. Next target was already marked on the map, and 40,000 more troops were on their way.